Hello, Mark. It's fantastic to see you. We haven't had the opportunity to do this, to record some podcast episodes since March. It's been a solid few months, but you've been busier than you've ever been, especially regarding the road trips that you've been doing, which we can kind of get into here. But how have you been? How are things?
Oh, good, Kevin. Just a lot of driving and yeah, so I'm fine though. Yeah, just plugging away.
Exhausted, but plugging away.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we get into it, before I get kind of into the introduction to kind of give people the lay of the land a bit more. I really want to thank everyone for continuing to subscribe to the podcast. We did not forget about it. We did not abandon it. It's just a matter of scheduling, mine, especially Mark's time to make this happen. We absolutely see the value in doing this. It's not a lack of interest. We have actually a strong passion for it, as you've been able to tell so far. We basically took an unscheduled break, is what we did. I'm sure you can understand that, especially if you followed along with Mark's tweets, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Threads. Am I missing one? On your Substack, Mark, and and of course the short videos that you've done during your travels to kind of give people a sense of what you're doing on a kind of a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. So really want to thank people for sticking around, either subscribing or resubscribing, and kind of keeping up with what Mark is doing as he does this important work, this critically important work on a volunteer basis, along with the rest of, I should say, the whole of the Coalition for Justice and Human Rights. Thanks for sticking with us, and let's get into it here. So today, Mark, I wanted to start talking about something that you're doing regularly now, even though most people might not realize it. You're spending hours behind the wheel driving people to treatment centers across Alberta. And you also many other things as well, including appointments, meetings, and other places that people need to go who have don't have the means to get there. You've been out on the roads again this week. So you said that you're going on the road again this week to Lethbridge, to Fort McMurray, other places. You kind of gave it a little bit of insight there on social media about. And the impression I get is you have not been on the road this much in up to this point in your 35 years roughly of doing this. Is that accurate?
Yeah, no, it's been very challenging. So what's happening is there's been an influx of boutique courts in Edmonton. So we have mental health court, we have drug treatment court, and we have Indigenous court. In Indigenous court, there's obviously an effort to try to help people and get them into treatment, residential treatment programs. One of the big obstacles, of course, is that when you're dealing with many people in conflict with the law, is that they have no transportation. So the Indigenous court asked me if I could help them take some of these clients who I've been working with on the side as well and make sure that they have a safe way to get to treatment and then back from treatment. So I've taken that role on. And then, of course, because it's been successful and people are getting into treatment, it becomes more utilized. So I've been asked a lot over this summer to transport clients, which I don't mind at all. I mean, it's a great experience. It's something very tangible, helping people have a safe ride to get somewhere, because that's one of the barriers that people have is that they don't have access to treatment.
I'm certainly not knocking it. Desperately needed what you're doing. Um, but it's the time that you're on the road. I don't want to imply or whatever that other people that more kind of within Edmonton or what have you that could also use your services. You're certainly not neglecting anybody. It's who calls you and what they need at the time, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So these rides, I've been asked to do these rides and drive these people to treatment to help facilitate them dealing with their underlying issues. And it's been, yeah. I mean, success breeds a lot of work.
A lot of
So
work, a lot of time on the road.
over the summer, I don't really mind it. I might look at it again come winter because I do not like white knuckling it down the, down the,
Highway 2?
well, it's not just Highway 2. I mean, township roads, secondary roads, Highway 29, Highway 45, Township Road 645. They're all,
Middle of nowhere.
yeah,
You break down there, you're in trouble.
yeah,
Yeah. But grateful that at any rate that you have at least, pulled over, kind of taken a break. I personally cannot do 4, 5, 6 hours each way, never mind one way. So it's good that you take a few minutes for yourself during those trips, and despite being, of course, exhausted, able to drive and kind of hold your phone up and kind of tell us what's going on in that moment. Of course, we can use that quite a bit in terms of the social media and whatnot. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do that kind of in the moment, right? To capture that
yeah,
emotion, to capture those thoughts and feelings.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 5 or 6 hours each way. I do not know how you do that. I wish these places weren't in the middle of nowhere, but apparently they are.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
Okay. So what are you going to Lethbridge for tomorrow?
So I've been working with this girl for um, since about 2006. She's really suffered from alcoholism. So she's a very raging alcoholic over the decades. And it's really rather tragic. So she's First Nations and she lost, because of her drinking, she lost her children into care. And this has really impacted her. Her sister just recently died of alcohol overdose or alcohol poisoning. And so about a year ago, she was in a delirium because she was trying to go clean, and she was in a delirium, and she thought she saw her baby in Tim Hortons. She was in
Oh,
Tim Hortons, so she
right.
thought she saw her baby, and
Yeah.
so she picked up this baby and basically it's wasn't really going anywhere. Was just holding it and walked towards the door. The parents were horrified,
Mm.
and they took the baby and they called the police. And then the police charged her with, I don't know the exact type of offense, but kidnapping a child. They transferred her to Lethbridge away from some of these people who are trying to kill her. And so I'm going to see her and try to get her into treatment.
So you're doing that, and then you do a quick turnaround. And then you're coming back home Monday night, and then back at it on for the rest of the week, eh?
Yep. And then Tuesday, I'm off to Fort McMurray driving another client to treatment.
I know how specific I want to get, but when we say treatment, just to be clear for people, it's related to addictions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So drugs, alcohol, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where is it now? Okay. So just to put a pin in this for a second, these aren't short trips. I want to emphasize that to people. And as we've said, some of these take 5, 6, whatever hours each way sometimes. Um, and you're not, you, you're doing these because if you don't, that person might not get the help that they need. So today, as we've already started to do, we're taking kind of a little bit of a deep dive into some of these situations, and um, I'd really like to get a bit of insight as well, not just in terms of where you're going and the purpose, but maybe you could give us a sense of what it's like to be in that car with you, in the car with that other person, because you said you've had some pretty great conversations along the way.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about, you just start when you're in a car with somebody for 5 hours, you're taking them out of a jail. and they've been in jail, some of them for up to a year and a half, 2 years. There's quite that institutionalization aspect. The biggest comment I get is, "Oh, I forgot how green things are, how
Really?
green outside." Yeah, I mean, you're stuck in a gray
Yeah.
institution. So there's a lot of trying to talk through of just the sudden change in their life in the last hour from being into a maximum security prison to being in the car with your windows rolled down on a hot summer day.
Oh, that's right.
And
The remand is maximum security, isn't it?
oh yeah, yeah.
We've talked
And
about that.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's quite a jarring experience. And then you have on top of that, because you're so institutionalized, and you're so nervous about change, and that, going straight to a treatment center can be very jarring for people. So a lot of the conversation involves around that. But then you get into these sort of life discussions, or, some of these guys I've worked with when they were kids, and you talk about, what went right, what went wrong. And yeah, it's a very interesting conversation usually. And, it's, and by and large, the people that I'm taking are, I mean, they're just everyday people. They're just people are different when they're under the influence, and when they're sobered up and they're clean and drugs are out of their system, they're just pretty normal. A lot of them are dealing with trauma, but yeah. So yeah, the conversations evolve around what treatment's going to be like, what's going to happen, what their fears are. Then that gets into why they're doing treatment and their aspirations, and a lot of it is family based. I want to see my children again. I've been such a busy disappointment to my parents. So it's those kind of things that sort of develop on the road.
That's an incredible experience, a wonderful gift, if I may say so, where that they otherwise wouldn't get because if just anybody drove them, I don't know who else could drive them, but if somebody else did, they might not have those kind of in between. I don't know what to say. You're talking about where they've never been to treatment before. Hopefully, what you're saying is putting them at ease to the extent possible. They're just diving right in without any sense of what it's going to be. So that's incredible that you can share that insight with them from, of course, your wealth of knowledge about in these situations. I'm sure they deeply appreciate that. I would be eternally grateful if I was in their shoes to have someone to be next to you having a chat with you for 5 6 hours. I'm sure they're incredibly grateful for it, for the going from jail to, like you say, maybe they're you're taking breaks along the way a little bit, smoke break, whatever it happens to be. You driving them down there, here's what you can kind of expect, and so forth. That's a real gift.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a gift for me.
Yeah, it's true.
You're learning, and
Yeah, getting to know these people, sure,
yeah,
and they're getting to know you. That's again, it's incredible to me.
yeah. It's a sharing experience, that's for sure.
I'm sure you can appreciate this. This is my honest opinion. Um, there's nothing more important in this life than the relationships we have with other people.
No, I agree. I agree.
So for you to give them that, where otherwise, like I say, they're just pulled out, driven somewhere. Not a word is said. They're just here. Here you go. You're here for 3 months, however long treatment happens to be, and I'd be scared too. So one of the people that you drove to rural treatment, uh, I have down. I didn't grab the name of the center, sadly, but an 18-year-old, and this is fairly recent though. He said, and you said he's a good kid. That's the one I think where your hair is blowing in the wind when you pulled over because it was so
Oh,
windy.
that was to Frog Lake. Yeah.
Frog Lake, yeah. You said you've been there twice this week or last week?
Yeah. Yeah. It's gorgeous drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Incredible. You saw an opportunity to kind of intervene there. And the drive, as you said, took you deep into rural Alberta, and you made sure the center was, ready to receive him. So that's 18 years old. That's the one where we asked for him for if people had any cell phones to donate so we could contact his
And
dad,
someone
right?
did, and I gave him a cell phone. So when the second time I came up, I gave him the cell phone. Yeah. So yeah, someone donated three cell phones, and I was able to give him one when I went up the second time. Another individual. So that was really nice.
That's wonderful. 18 years old, that'd be kind of a scary thing, upsetting thing not to be able to contact a family member, and I imagine a place he's never been before. 18-year-old guy. Um, That's awesome. I'm glad somebody was able to step up and donate some cell phones to you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What was that drive like with him? How was that experience?
Well, like I said before, it's just a very rewarding experience.
What'd you talk about?
Well, same things as I talked about before, life ambitions, what led you down this path, fears, aspirations. Um,
What was it?
for the 18-year-old, he was never in trouble with the law before, and then he got into some shit with being an adult and went straight into jail, and that was hard on him.
What happened, if I can ask?
I never asked them their charges per se, and I never asked them why. And I guess that's because I've been doing it since 1989, and then maybe that's my fault. Your charges, I never asked them that. I know with the one lady, I mean, that I've worked with since 2006, she shared with me what happened because it was so upsetting to her. Most people won't offer it unless you ask them, and I never asked them.
Okay. So you got in trouble with the law. That's all we know. Got addicted to something to end up in treatment. No judgment. I'm just saying. You think he'll make it?
Yeah, yeah. He was all nervous and everything. And when I saw him the second time, when I brought up the second individual and saw him for the second time, he was much more relaxed and
Hmm.
was enjoying, he was participating and very active with the staff and the other clients. So, hey, he fit right in there.
Cool. All right. A few weeks back, you shared a story about a 5-hour drive with another man heading to treatment. Um, and what stood out to you was how quiet the drive was, not awkward, but reflective, as I'm sure many of these drives are. You're reflecting on these experiences that these people have kind of made them comfortable as they go on to the next thing. The man had been struggling for a long time, and you could sense how much was riding on this trip, as I know it is for every single
Yeah.
person that you take the treatment, right? If you don't do it, apparently nobody else, like, they're not going to get there. They're not going to get treatment. They're not going to.
No, they're not. Every situation's unique. Had a small business. He was thriving, making lots and lots of money, very well off, very comfortable.
Mm,
And then he just succumbed to cocaine and crack, and then started defrauding his business,
mm,
and it went completely under. And he had, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. That's another pitfall you come across is people maintain themselves, and then when you get into this enormous amount of pressure of running a business and making lots of money, lots of cash on hand kind of money, above board, but still involving cash on hand. He was making those swamp mats for oil rigs. He was making those, and he found a niche, and had big contracts, and
mm.
but he lost all that. So reflective in the sense that is when you're driving up and you're just staring outside and you haven't looked outside in years, you take account of your life, and
Yeah.
I'm not one to press the conversations.
Hmm.
I'm not a chatty Cathy person. So
Except here.
he yeah, except here. So he kind of dictated what the conversation was going to be, and it was just very quiet.
Sometimes it wasn't even much of a conversation, and I say that with all due respect. And is you said there was a chance to reset. You said he felt the weight. you both did, of the weight of that silence, and even that, when even words were not being said, it reminded you why you do this work.
Yeah, no, reset in the sense that he has a lot of life left in him. He's in his young 30s. So resetting is saying he hasn't lost his business skill. He hasn't lost his
Hmm.
drive to run a business. So it was just a resetting moment for him.
So he recognized that.
Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic, fantastic.
yeah,
So he's in treatment right now, I gather, and I hope he makes it.
I do too.
Yeah. Alrighty. A couple times in recent weeks, maybe more, you've taken a couple of individuals to the Capown. I hope I'm saying that right. Rehabilitation Center, which I think is, if I got it right, is located in the Drift Pile Cree Nation. But you said there's a few around there in terms of the First Nations communities. You said this was a long trip. Again, more than 5 hours each way. Donations covered the cost. And you described the moment of arrival as emotional. The timing was important too. You took this individual to treatment immediately after his release, making sure that there was no gap, excuse me, where he could fall back into old patterns. So you said you went there a couple of times, but and I don't want to be negative about it. I guess a charge was discovered and he had to go pick him up. Unfortunately, that kind of thing happens too.
Yeah, and it's an irk that I have. There was nowhere on the, his charges involved um, historical sexual assault with his partner, and he did the crime, he did the time, took the treatment, he did jump through all the hoops he was, and he moved on with his life, and then when he filled out this application, there was no questions about his prior criminal involvement, if his crimes were sexual, nothing like that. Most of his crimes were always property, anyways. Um, but through this, when he gets there, he's involved in the program, accepted, and then through the counseling aspect of it, he discloses, because he's being honest, he discloses his history that happened 15 years earlier, and right then and there, they kicked him out. And that's to me is not,
I don't understand that.
well, there's so much stigma associated with sexual violence, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be, but it it impacts people. If you believe in redemption
Sure.
and you believe in treatment and you believe in understanding that every sentence is finite and you're going to get out, it's to everybody's benefit that this person completed his treatment. It would help him stay sober and he'd be less of a threat to the community. And these centers that are publicly funded, in my mind, if you're going to take people and you're publicly funded, then you're going to have to take people. And they come back, people come with all sorts of baggage and histories, and the program was co-ed, so I can see that being a concern, but you can mitigate that. They weren't sleeping in the same dorms. They were different size of the building, 24/7 awake staff. So, I think it could have been mitigated, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any kind of assessment that happens of you or a risk here. I don't know.
if they had a concern like that, they should have had
Yeah,
that question on the
that's right.
referral form, but they don't. And then this guy's blindsided. Oh, by the way, we're going to kick you out because you disclosed this. And
Yeah, 15 years ago, he did his time. That just seems wrong to me.
yeah,
I don't know. Figure you do the assessment, you determine if the person's a risk. Now he's not getting the help he needs for for the reasons he's there.
yeah,
When you're doing these drives for the resources, money, obviously, that it takes, that comes out of donations, doesn't it?
yeah. Everything is donations. I don't charge anybody anything. So the only sort of income that for gas and for food and whatever
Mhm.
to help these people with is all through donations. And
Gas is not cheap. So,
no, no,
car maintenance, whatever that you need to get there and back. The donations were lacking a little bit. You said that you got enough, certainly for the time being, to keep going.
I had a great fund drive. I had a lot of costs
Yeah.
come up with clients, a big slew of emergencies, and I needed those donations to maintain that cushion, and so I can continue doing what I do. I walk with these people. I drive with them. I support them. And when you do that, instead of clicking and pointing them through starvation and through homelessness, and you actually fight and take them to viewings to apartments, or you buy them groceries, or you get baby supplies. There's a cost associated with that because we're not government funded. They would never fund us. Uh,
You don't want it
uh,
anyway.
we were independent, and so it's completely donor driven.
And how are things looking?
Good, good. Always use more.
I want to go back to a story that we touched on way back in March. Last time we talked. I'll just refresh people's memories a little bit because I really wanted to know the outcome of this. An Indigenous woman was tackled by police on her mother's front porch over what began as a traffic violation, which was described as a minor matter, kind of like a speeding ticket. You shared video, I think probably from the mum or this lady herself,
Yeah.
a couple of photos to highlight the disproportionate and violent police response that was evident, especially when dealing with Indigenous women. The event unfolded in front of her family and community, causing not just physical harm, but emotional trauma as well. What's happened with that situation since?
So the information I get is from the clients, right? So you can't say with certainty what happened or didn't happen. I There's no reason not to believe both the two sisters and the mother involved in the incident, as well as the neighbors who said this is what they saw.
Hmm.
The video was fairly clean when the cop says, great job parenting, blah blah blah, goes into this rant. The wounds and the bruising to the people, and given what they were charged with, there's a big question. So I helped them facilitate a letter to the professional standards branch, which they've done. The police are investigating this. Um, I'm supporting the one woman for her charges of assaulting a peace officer. I forget the other one, and going through the court process with them. So I lawyered them up, and things grind very slowly. So this is where we are. And this is March, April, May, June, July. So, 4 months into this is where we are. And
Mm,
that's just the speed at which things grow. So I've been supporting the sister and the two daughters, I mean, to this one mom, helping them write the letters, helping them make the phone calls, helping them get, you know, attending court. And this is where it's at.
okay. Yes, the wheels of justice.
Yeah.
How's she doing? How's the family doing? Frustrated, no
Good.
doubt, but yeah.
No, it's a very tight family and they're doing okay.
All right. This must have been back in March or even before that. I wrote down a mom's child placed in an adult psychiatric unit. You described a case where a minor was sent to an adult unit in the Alberta hospital. 20 days in, and no one had communicated with the family. That struck me as, well,
Oh, it's
unfair.
terrible. Yeah. So I can jump right into this.
Go
So this
ahead.
situation where you're dealing with a child under the UN, a child is 18 and under, and this boy is 17, and he was placed in an adult psychiatric facility. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been in a pediatric or a child's a youth facility. So he's there with older people, like people in their 70s, 80s with dementia, entrenched schizophrenia. It was just a gong show. My information comes from the mom. My information came from this boy. My information came in a conversation I had with a program manager just about his general treatment, about them demanding to go through his phone. Um, not him being having given the opportunity to call a lawyer, things like that. So a lot of people think the justice system is the most intrusive, and it is in many ways, but there's a lot of oversight within the justice system. Um, Particularly, you have courts always hovering over the whole situation. You have lawyers appointed to uphold the rule of law and uphold your human rights. So the justice system can be rather intrusive, but there's so much oversight that it stays within the parameters of what it can and can't do. However, the healthcare system, and to a lesser extent, the child welfare system, those things can go off the rails really quick because you don't have that same oversight. You have this, well, we're doing it for best interest as opposed to punishment and corrections. We're fixing a social program problem, or we're fixing your health. And that way they can be very intrusive and there isn't the same oversight. Children don't have access to the child and youth advocate's office as they do within the justice and child welfare system. And when you call patient relations within the healthcare system, it belongs to the same system. It's lacking in oversight, and it's lacking in outside how should I put it? It doesn't have those external safety gauges. It's external checks and balances. So this boy was feeling this sort of full force, and thankfully he had a very loving mother and very in his corner. We ended up phoning the minister's office, using social media, and the outcome was that we were able to get him transferred to a youth unit and an investigation on how the healthcare system was treating this person.
In some of your posts, you described how these youth who are turning 18 are leaving government care often show up in shelters, only to be told they don't qualify. Essentially, you don't get the shelter money if you're homeless, right? And these young people are finding themselves literally on the street because there's no bridge in place for when support is abruptly cut off. Any thoughts on that?
So a lot of the young people that are involved with children's services do get extended supports until they're 22. Some people, some kids, I don't know if they get cut off at 18. But whenever they get cut off, a lot of times that transitions into housing and adult income supports isn't there, and is a much less caring, not very caring. There's been a real ideological shift within income supports.
So the issue is that income support under Jason Nixon, at least in my opinion, has become very ideologically driven to cut and be very, austerity, very focused on austerity and cutting back and making lives miserable, actually.
Mm.
And And so this has had a big, huge impact for people that are homeless because they're not getting the housing supports and the damage deposits and the first month's rent to get into a program or housing. And they're denying a lot more people, at least what I'm seeing, flat out saying, yeah, you can work, go find a job, leave us alone. And this is not what I don't think the majority of Albertans expect or want from income support. They want some compassion. They want that safety net to be, strong as ever, helping people who are on the streets, who have unable to work, don't have the skills to work, don't have the health to work for whatever reason. And yeah, and they've changed the dynamics. You don't have a worker assigned to you. It's whoever you get on the phone. It's always on the phone. It's never in person. So it's become just a call center. And it's in my opinion, it's income support has just become a disgrace.
Yeah, I agree with that. Having personal experience in that regard to some extent. And of course, from hearing the stories that you've shared. Um, how's that 18-year-old doing? Do you remember that case?
No.
Okay.
But I will say this, no news is good news. So I don't know
Yeah,
why I think I was able to get some supports and which is part and parcel with some of the cases, is when you don't hear back from people they move on, it's usually good news.
you've said a couple of times in recent weeks, months, even where even going back into January, I remember you saying it, where this is the busiest you have ever been, right?
Yeah.
And whether you're driving people places, helping people with different things, advocating, going to court, getting people groceries, the list goes on, my friend. And of course, trying to take care of yourself and spend some time with your family, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also do hope that you're taking care of yourself. It's unfortunate that you're in demand this much, whether it's things in Edmonton or that area, or these many many hours you're spending on the road. We're all incredibly grateful, and I'm sure the people who I know the people you're helping are even more, grateful. It's life changing for them. Do you think this is a temporary thing, or do you think that your services are going to be needed at this rate for a while?
Oh yeah. No, I think they will. Uh, I mean, it's always been busy, Kevin. It's just, I mean, it ebbs and flows, and right now it's just a high peak, and it'll taper off. I don't think it's so much with the government. I think I mean, some of it's with the government, some of it's always been with the government, but it's just the fact of people in a big city.
Yeah, or big profits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really appreciate you coming on, Mark. Sincerely, it's very good to see you. I haven't seen you since March. We deeply appreciate these stories that you're telling and the people you're helping. Always great reminders in what you're sharing as to what people are facing and how we can better help each other. And of course, donate to the coalition to help you do what you do. So thanks for taking this time today. We finally did it, Mark. We finally made it happen. Almost halfway through summer. So hopefully the next time we record will be, I don't know, in a month if we're lucky. But it's always good to see you, my friend.
Oh, same here, Kevin.
And thank you everyone for joining us today, whether you're reading, listening, watching on YouTube. And I should probably mention that again. We've decided to post the video, certainly, and the audio, if I can just make an audio version, to YouTube because that saves us some money in terms of the podcast distribution. And YouTube is free. So why not just use that? If donations increase to a healthier level, you're doing okay. You've said that, but if they can, then we can kind of do some extras like that. It's linked to at markcherrington.ca, kind of a link tree there. People can check out to donate, to check out the social media, to go to the YouTube channel, etc. The Substack. Um, and yeah, sincerely, thank you for joining us. Your time is valuable. Our time is valuable. It means the world to us that you're interested in what Merck is doing, and of course, what the coalition is doing. And I'll give a little a promo here, if I may. I believe you have your second annual fundraiser coming up. Is it November?
Yeah, November 7th.
November 7th.
Yeah.
All right, we should start seeing some more information coming up later as that nears.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Where's it going to be held this time?
The Ukrainian Center.
Ukrainian Center. Okay. I think it was River Cree last time. Or was it?
Yeah, yeah, Ukrainian Center was it's going to be much more less formal, much more fun focused.
Looked pretty fun last time.
Yeah.
You sent people to the coalition's website Is there something about that there now? Because there wasn't at that
No,
time.
there isn't. We're meeting again next week. So yeah, I don't know why that could. So yeah.
Yeah. We look forward to more information. Fantastic to see you, my friend. Words do not express, I'm sure, for most of us, many of us, all of us, how much we appreciate what you and the coalition do. So good to see you. And again, I'm just over the moon excited to always have these conversations, have these chats with you, and to tell these stories with you. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Okay. You take care, Kevin.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time, sincerely. And it won't be that long. It
Okay.
won't be months down the road. We're aiming for it. These things
Yeah.
happen, but we'll try to communicate. All right. Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Bye.